Hello, welcome to the Big Scuba Show.
I'm Chris Taylor and I'm on the Big Scuba podcast here with Gemma and Ian today to talk about the North Norfolk chalk reef.
Hello and welcome to the Big Scuba podcast. My name is Ian. I am your dive master and co-host for this episode. I'm not here alone. I've got somebody with me. Is my co-host is...
Hello, this is Gemma. Good morning and welcome to the Big Scuba podcast. This is episode 168.
Here we are, and we are gathered round this microphone in lovely Pakefield today. Say thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for downloading this episode. If you're wondering what we're all about, well, we talk to divers and explorers and people who love being under the water. And sometimes on the water, we talk to paddle boarders as well, and
artists.
Free divers, artists, and
astronauts.
We do, and we often share about them on our social media as well. So that's kind of the gist of what we're about. Coming up on this episode, we have got a local guy for you today. If you're in the Norwich and Norfolk area, maybe further afield, I'm sure, you've probably heard of Chris Taylor. Chris Taylor Photography. We have spoke to him recently, and we've sort of followed his work for some time now. Actually,
yeah, we've been in contact with him. Well, probably just before pre-lockdown, or through lockdown. Yeah. So he's appeared on our local news. He's a drone pilot as well. Some amazing footage.
Professional photographer. Ex-wedding photographer, and also does a lot of drone work commercially and for the joy of photography as well.
Yeah, very passionate about our local area. So he's based up in Sheringham, North Norfolk, and it's just a place he loves.
One of the shanty singers of Sheringham and one of the great volunteers of the Sheringham lifeboat as well.
Yes, yeah. So Chris Taylor's coming up. So he'll be talking about all things North Norfolk chalk, and we've got a famous chalk reef that's probably one of the it's maybe the biggest in the world.
So he is a diver, but he does more snorkeling and photography and things like that. Probably more these days. And we a while ago actually, just in the summer, didn't we? We did the snorkel trail, didn't we?
We did.
Sheringham.
Yeah. So you can only do it when the visibility is very good. So we just got a weather window, didn't we? And I think it was mid-September.
Yeah, one Sunday morning, didn't we? Went up there.
Got our wetsuits on and went through. And it is a snorkel trail, so it follows an old Victorian sewage pipe that's obviously disused and
thankfully
has lots of life. So we had our wetsuits on, we had our floats with us. And just snorkeled the trail, and it was
busy
amazing
as well. It was busy, and free as well. How many things in the UK are free? And it's once you see the marker, kind volunteers put a marker out on the pipe, so people like us can go and have a look and see where you need to go. And it is, I'd say reasonably safe to do.
It is.
To do it on a low tide.
And the depth, the maximum depth, we probably hit a couple of metres, 3 metres.
If that.
Yeah.
And there was, kids are out there and parents out there with their kids, and it is, it was a good thing to do. There's lots of crabs, lots of wildlife, lots of
fish, lobsters, and it's just something that you have to do when the visibility is really good. Chris has done some amazing videos underwater of how it is when there've been exceptional visibility days, hasn't he? And the wildlife, just absolutely stunning. And it is a very famous chalk reef, so a habitat, and it is a protected zone as well.
It is, So if you're in the area, or next year, if you are holidaying in North Norfolk, why not? It's a beautiful part of the world. Put that on your to-do list. It's a really thing to do. So look it up, the Sheringham Trail, and Sheringham Chalk Reef is it's protected now, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
So do that. What have you been up to this week?
We haven't done any sort of diving as such, but we've been busy communicating with people over the podcast wavelength.
Now, a little birdie told me that you are looking at doing the rebreather tri-dive, same.
Yes, that's all booked in for
Which is
2024.
cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
so I thought I'd just give it a go.
With the man Scott.
Yes, yep. So that's going to be coming up in early 2024, just to give me a bit of an insight into the rebreather world. And I think it's good that we know what it's about, or
Absolutely, yeah.
sort of stuck our fingers in the water.
Yeah, I should be doing it again. We did talk about it last week, and also we gave out the details for Scott Laddiman,
Yes,
who ran the tri-dive for me. So, and he'll be running your course as well.
Yeah.
So look up his details. In fact, look up some of the previous episodes if you are joining us for this episode. You're new to us. The last few episodes we've had various guests. Who have we had?
So this previously Laura Park. So
Yeah.
she was a Floridian, and we spoke to her about snorkeling.
What's a Floridian?
She comes from Florida.
I've not heard of that before. Does that mean as I come from Bungie,
You're a Bungarian?
I'm a Bungarian.
Yeah.
Because we all know that Bungie is the centre of the universe.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like that, I'm an astronaut.
Anyway, so we spoke to Laura Park.
Right.
So she told us about, she's a scuba diving instructor and snorkeling. Prior to that, we spoke to another American,
Yeah.
Ted Harty,
Yeah.
and he's from immersion free diving. So that was all about free diving, but there were lots of aspects of
We love our cousins across the pond.
Yes, yep. So there were lots of aspects we spoke to him about that are applicable to diving as well as
Yeah.
free diving.
Yeah, and actually, just talking about that, I shared. Often reshare some of his videos, and he came up with this really simple solution to not getting water going down your pipe. So have a look at that. And I reshared, and I thought, you know what? When you're snorkeling, it is a pain. You get water going down the pipe, and you're like, and you got to blow it out and all the rest of it.
Down your snorkel.
Exactly, and it's a really good solution. So
Yeah.
have a look at that.
Yes, yeah. So that was really interesting. And then we spoke to officially Miss Scuba International.
We did.
Hayley Adlam.
Yeah.
So we'd spoken to her just prior to her competition, but
And she won.
As we released it, she was
How
crowned
cool is that?
Miss Scuba International. So that
Yeah.
was really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, lots about her work offshore too, which was really interesting.
Then we spoke to another top lady.
Yes, Jojo.
Yeah.
So a rebreather and Santi ambassador as well. So
Yeah.
that was really interesting. Hearing
Joanna
about,
Wybrick.
yeah, very enthusiastic about her diving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last breath.
Yeah. So episode 163 was Chris Lemons.
Yeah.
So if you have watched the film Last Breath, seeing a offshore diver stuck underwater with nothing to breathe, Chris Lemons was that man.
Brought back from the dead.
Yeah, so that was really interesting. So there's some good varieties in those
Don't
episodes.
go towards the light.
No.
Apparently.
Okay. Yeah, but 167 episodes to listen to, and now you're listening to 168.
How many?
168.
100. So many. And 4 years in the making. So
Yes, so 168. This is our last episode of 2023.
some people thought we'd only make it past lockdown.
They laughed, didn't they? But we're
still
not,
here.
and we're not going anywhere.
Still here.
So-
Still here.
Sorry, you got put up with this. But anyway, seriously, there's 167 episodes in the back catalogue to listen to. So over the Christmas and New Year festive holidays,
Yeah.
listen in.
Yes, exactly. If you're starting the gym again this year, get in with it. Get down with the downloads and
Yeah.
and have a tune in while you're on that running machine.
And I think there's always something that comes out of it that you can relate to life. There's always a little nugget of some
We
kind.
had a message the other day, didn't we, from somebody who's new, a new listener, and said that they're catching up on some of the episodes and that, some of
Yes.
the previous ones. You know, they're all out there. They're all free. So yeah.
You don't need to listen to them in the order that you...
And we are planning, one of the things we are planning on doing is getting in contact with some of our early previous guests because things change, people do things, people are busy, so
They evolve
we
and they
are going to
grow,
be we have got some things lined up for next year and some more trips, and we've got some visit. In fact, January and February is
Quite
already
busy.
looking busy. And some of the things we'll be doing, we'll be catching up with some of our early previous guests who we haven't spoke to for a while to
No.
kind of find out what they've been up to
Catch up, yes.
since we
and-
last spoke.
Oh, so that's all interesting
And
stuff. So that's episodes, and you've had a new delivery in the week.
I did. It's arrived. It's black and shiny, and I'd be very proud of it.
Happy.
I am. Yes, like a new child. So yes, I picked up my truck, and I like having the truck. And,
yes, it's very you.
It is, yeah, and it's great. I haven't done much miles with it actually so far. It's great. So there'll be more about that over the course. Well, we'll be sharing about it. It'll be the dive truck.
We both got vehicles that are suitable for diving now, haven't we?
Yes, yeah.
We've both got new vehicles.
Yeah, and it's really good, and looking forward to using that and sharing about it on YouTube and stuff.
So watch this space, and again, mentioning our YouTube channel. Have a look at our YouTube channel, because there's lots of footage there to sort of catch up on, and our adventures on the water, kayaking, underwater footage as well.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
So give us a like and a
subscribe. We need to try and make some more of our YouTube. We haven't done so much with the YouTube.
No.
So what is that keep bleeding?
It's my phone.
I do apologise, listener.
I didn't put it on silence in the kitchen. Right, so I think that's everything, and then we just need to mention about sort of the winter season. So
in the UK.
In the UK, yes.
Yeah.
So diving doesn't mean diving stops, but we do get our equipment serviced.
For our Australian and Florida and further afield listeners, they're now laughing, going, "You've got cold." Yes, it's cold, and a lot of people in the UK. So in the UK, it's usually after Christmas, between Christmas and March, or let's say Easter. A lot of people take the opportunity. Not all, some people are hardy and they dive all year round, and that's great. But a lot of people in the UK do take this time to send the dry suits off, like I'm now going to, because mine's leaky.
Yes.
So I'm hoping
might get fixed.
Our friends at O3 can fix that for me. Get your regs sent off, BCD, get that serviced. When did you last get your BCD serviced?
They're all important.
They need
things.
a service, like everything else. You've got to rely and make sure that all works and what have you. When did you last give it a good clean out and what have you? Make sure everything does work on it properly. Is it getting frayed? All these things.
Yeah,
Now's the time to do it. If you're not going to be getting in the water. But obviously, most of our inland dive centres, I'm pretty sure, are open all year round. Visibility, I was in Stony last week. Visibility was absolutely immaculate. It was just like,
that is the advantage.
It's so clear at the minute, which is great, especially in the week, because most of the schools are now coming to the end.
Yes, and, weekend shouldn't be so bad now, because the schools are all finished. Less,
and then for Crystal Seas, normally we start things at Easter. So now it's time. Get your dry suit in for service. Get your regs in for service. Put them through with your. You can service them yourself if you know how. Great, but if not, speak to your local dive centre. Get them booked in.
Yes, and there's also the opportunity over the winter, if you don't want to get in open water, you can go into the pool and do like photography courses, or start other courses, do the theory, and then get in the water. March, April
or just book some time in the pool with your local dive centre if they've got a pool, and go over some skills. When did you last practice doing an out and air scenario?
A couple of weeks ago.
I know we did.
We did,
but some of our listeners maybe haven't done it for a while. So
it is important to keep those skills all refreshed.
Get an hour, couple of hours booked with your local dive centre in the pool. If you want to do it in the cold, and with your buddy, and book some time and go through. If you speak to the dive centre, they'll give you the, let's say, the paddy one. Other agencies are out there and will do the same thing, and you can get a list of the skills, the basic skills that you did in your open water, and you can work your way through those skills to say, I can still do this, I can still do that, I can take my mask off and put it back on while being neutrally buoyant.
Yeah, it's just muscle memory, really, just to remember. And even like kitting up, it's just something that you've got to do at the poolside, and just make sure that you're keeping those skills in the forefront of
Yeah,
your mind.
especially if you haven't dived for a little while and you're thinking, well, I don't really want to get in during the winter. I'm going to wait till it warms up again. Well, that's a few months, and
That's a long time.
it is a long time. So yeah, definitely book some time with the pool, or with an instructor if they're free, and see if they can, jump in, go through some of them skills.
Yes. So if you've got any advice, let us know. You can contact us in the usual places.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, on the south coast, I think they're diving all year round. We're talking about our coast on the east, where that's it really.
Yes, we've got no
on
visibility
on the east land. But let us know if you are diving all year. That'd be good to hear from you.
Yes, but I'm sure we'll be out on the paddle boards over in the next couple of months.
Yeah,
while it's a beautiful day today. It's
Yeah.
probably perfect weather for paddle boarding.
Right. Well, that's kind of it, I think, is it?
Yes, you were going to mention Becky Kagan Scott.
Oh,
weren't you?
yes, well done to her. She's got another award for the
Beneath the Seas.
Yeah, Beneath the Seas. So well done to her, and it's really good. And yeah, well done.
Yes, yeah. So that's another one.
Look
of our
her up
guests.
if you don't follow Becky Kagan Scott. Look her up. Some of her photos that she takes from some of her Antarctic trips, polar trips, are awesome. So
Yeah, and then we just need to wish everybody a happy Christmas and have a great
or
New Year.
if they don't celebrate Christmas,
Have a
happy
nice
holidays,
happy holidays.
or whatever it is you celebrate.
Yes,
if you're not
but
at work, enjoy the time off.
yeah, and we'll be having a little bit of a break into sort of mid-January. So there'll be some more podcasts coming out towards the end of January, but we're just going to get some stuff done, aren't we? That we need to get done for the big scuba. But yeah, this is the last episode of 2023.
Wow. Well, we want to say thank you very much for listening. Thanks for downloading the episodes all this year.
Thank you to
And
all our guests.
If you listen to us in June, well, we hope you're enjoying your ice cream and enjoying the sun.
Yes, yeah, because there's no time stamps on these.
This is it. This is it.
But anyway, yes. So that was.
But if you're listening to this in a timely fashion, then yeah, great. Enjoy your time off, and if you're diving over Christmas, hope you have a great dive.
Yeah, send us some pictures. Tag us in.
Yeah, please do.
Right.
Let's get Chris on, shall we?
Yeah, so this is Chris Taylor, episode 168 of the Big Scuba Podcast. Excellent, thank you. Well, it's lovely to have you with us, Chris, and you're probably one of our localist guests we've had. Yeah, we've spoken to a couple of Norfolk divers, but yeah, I think probably more recently, it's nice to have someone not far away.
Same county as us.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Just.
Whereabouts are you based?
Sorry?
Where are you based?
I'm actually in Pakefield on the East Coast.
In Suffolk. And I'm in the centre of the universe in Bungay.
Whoa, there you go.
And whereabouts are you?
So I'm in Sheringham.
Sheringham, yeah. Lovely part of the world.
That is, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, it's really nice to finally catch up with you. I think we've been in contact not long after we started the podcast back in 2020.
I think we spoke, that was way in lockdowns, really early into the lockdowns, I think.
Yeah, sorry, it's taken a while to get to this stage, isn't it?
No, that's fine.
How it goes, busy.
Yeah. So obviously you've done some diving in the past, but how did your journey into the watery world begin?
Well, I've always lived in Sheringham. I grew up in Sheringham, so I spent a lot of time at the beach as a kid. My grandparents lived in Galston, so we were often there as well on the beach, and just always had a love for the sea and an interest in everything water-based, really, whether it's on the water, under the water, and yeah, I suppose I followed that through. I enjoyed biology at school, so I then took that into a degree and ended up doing coastal estuarine and wetland biology at Hull University in the early 90s. Never really got a lot of use from it. I did apply for some jobs at Pakefield, actually, at the I don't know if they were called IFCA back then, but they were based in Pakefield.
The CFAS building.
CFAS, that was it.
Yep.
Yeah, CFAS.
It's still here. Yes.
Okay. But no, never really got much. I then went off to Australia for a year, just traveling, and ended up doing a little bit out there, collecting samples off the reef for people to look at in these touch tanks off Cairns on the Great Barrier Reef, which was incredible, and did a week on a dive boat there. I learned to dive originally at school with, I should know, I can't remember what they're called now. You've got Paddy, and then you've got the really strict ones. They're based on the Navy divers. Paddy and Bezac. There you go. So yeah, I originally learned with Bezac. So it was very strict stuff, all about the decompression tables and stuff, which is obviously a good thing.
Yeah.
Learned to do that. So then had a dive trip to Malta, and my first ever sort of proper open water dive was in Blue Grotto there. Just as we were about to get in the water, someone pointed out a photo on the wall in the cafe next to where we were going in, which had the largest ever great white landed, which was caught there. That obviously set us off on an interesting but yeah, and just fell in love with it there. I mean, I'd done a lot of snorkeling off Sheringham as a kid. We used to go in the summer when it was calm enough, and we used to have the sewage pipe, which is now actually completely disused and is now known as the Sheringham Snorkel Trail. I used to walk along that when it was still in use at low tide, and you'd see enormous crabs and lobsters at the end of this pipe eating everything came out of it. So it was a few years before I actually ate any crabs and lobsters, because once you know what they actually live off, it doesn't encourage you to eat them too much. That's gone now. The waters are a heck of a lot cleaner than they used to be. We've had blue flag, all along North Norfolk coast get blue flag beaches, year on year. So lovely water quality off here now. And I then got into doing photography and filmmaking, must be 18, 19 years ago. And it was sort of a natural thing to then, when the weather was calm enough, to then take the cameras underwater, ones that could go underwater without breaking, and start filming what we were seeing down there. And it's been a real eye opener, because I kind of assumed that people knew that what was down there, but a lot of people that have lived here all their life had no idea how colourful and diverse the marine life on the chalk reef is. So capturing that has been really good. People have been really interested, but I think what makes it special is that it's only actually really clear enough to have a decent snorkeling for a real few handful of days in the year. I'm going to have to seconds, my cat scratching the door and it's driving me nuts and putting me off what I'm trying to say. So sorry.
Cat interrupts podcast.
Right, I'm back.
That was quick.
That's a very good cat.
Right down here next
shout out to the
really
cat of the house. What's its name?
Tyra.
Tyra.
Tyra Taylor, the cat.
Yeah. Is that a posh cat? It sounds a very posh name.
I won't go into any details. She's not posh at all. Anyway, where were we? Yeah, so snorkeling at Sheringham. I mean, the chalk reef here, so the North Norfolk chalk reef, as I'm sure you know, extends from Weybourne all the way around to Haysborough, and I think it's, oh dear, I should have read up on my figures, but it's a good few kilometres out to sea, and I think it's the largest chalk reef in Europe, potentially even the world. I'm not sure if they've got to the bottom of that one yet, but. And it's it's a really unique environment. It's been sort of managed and fished on by the local fishermen for hundreds of years. And if you speak to the fishermen, they'll say that the pots they're putting down and the bait actually feeds the reef. And I like to sort of support the theory that the fishermen do. They want to take care of the reef as much as possible, because it is, a farmer wouldn't destroy his own land.
No.
The fishermen want to look after the reef there and look after their fishing grounds, and it's an incredible fishery we have here. I mean, there's literally zero bycatch. It's the pots come up, they have to measure everything, so stuff goes back, it's undersized. It's nothing that the trawling where they're absolutely decimating and there's huge amounts of bycatch. There is no bycatch with potting. It's you get your crabs and lobsters. You may occasionally get a cod in the pot, but nothing wrong with that.
No.
So but yeah, that's my brief overview.
Yeah,
I think we're lucky having the coast that we do have. When you look back in recent history, what have we had? We had Woodhenge at Cromer. Yeah. We've had wasn't there, or am I imagining it, a mammoth bone come out of one of the cliffs?
There was a whole mammoth come out of the cliffs at Runton. Yeah, there's all sorts in. Yeah,
So,
I was down there one day and a guy was digging out a woolly rhinoceros from the cliffs there as well. So yeah, it's an incredible
which is
area.
awesome, isn't it? The thing that
Mm.
that we've got that history, right? And I think when you go back of the early years of diving, when TVs were coming more popular in people's houses, we were blessed by sights of Jack Cousteau doing great diving and things like that. And it's easily to get channeled into this view that diving is only accessible to these lovely waters all around the world, and not
Mm.
actually realize that actually we've got diving on our doorstep here. We've got a coastline, and that our window on this particular coastline is a bit short, but in the summer we can actually get a wetsuit on, we can go snorkeling, and we can go for a dive, and it is you can still see some fantastic animals, and get some great pictures with your cameras and things like that. And it's lovely to think that we have got that on our doorstep.
It's fantastic. And I think what makes it all the more special is the window to actually go in. I mean, for diving, it's not so bad, especially if you're on a boat, you can go off further and you're not so affected by the sediment. But to have, so if it was like that all year round, it'd be great because you could go whenever you wanted. But the fact that you've really got to watch those conditions, and it's got to be spot on for it to be, really good visibility, that makes it really special. When it is good, that you proper buzz that like this is something special again. And you have to be quick. This year was very late actually. Normally August is a good time, but it was quite stirred up, wasn't it? Right up until probably mid-August, and then things started to calm down, and we actually got I didn't probably get in until early September, and that's when the snorkel season for me was this year. It was just those few days in September when it was just flat and calm, lovely.
Yeah, and I think, well, we haven't even had the opportunity to dive the local coast this year because of time, but we did manage to do the snorkel trail. I can't remember what date it was, but it was just like, we're going to do this.
That was late September, wasn't it?
I think it was, We'd done Blakeney kayaking the day before, and then we thought, or paddle boarding, and then we thought we're gonna give it a go, because it is such a special thing, and we'd never done it, and it was amazing.
You think about your open water, actually, we did at Gildenberg, and you could see about when that double-decker bus at Gildenberg, you could see several inches of that if we're lucky. And then your next dive from Gildenberg, we went and did Weybourne
and saw the Rosalie wreck, and
you saw how clear that was.
And it was just incredible because you saw the colors underwater. I didn't know what to expect. That was my first sea dive ever, and to see the wreck covered in all these amazing colors and fish, it was just I think that was like a real turning point from obviously seeing visibility like this in the inland site, and then seeing what you could see in the sea was just incredible. And
sorry, hang on. Thought I'd left enough room, but she's been eating a lot of food.
So the snorkel trail, we just literally followed the pipe out and back, and just did a bit of backwards and forwards, and we saw fish, lobsters, the colors of the the marine like seaweed and everything was just pretty good, wasn't it?
It's a proper rainbow down there. It really is stunning. And the nice thing about the pipe is you do get, because it's sort of almost like a sort of a artificial reef in a way, that stuff uses it for shelter, so you can actually get a lot of wrasse and stuff underneath it and get quite close to them. I've found as well, we've done a couple of night snorkels. I haven't managed to get one right out to the pipe yet, because it really takes the tide conditions to be right, and the clarity to be there, visibility to be there. But going out at night snorkeling has been incredible, because I mean, when you're diving at night, the fish don't see your shape. All they see is the torch, and they're not particularly afraid of a light. So I mean, we were swimming around the rocks just off Sheringham, and these huge sea bass, 2 or 3 feet from us, they did not care at all that we were there.
Wow.
Fantastic. Red mullet, I think it was, down there, just all sorts of stuff. And the fish just don't care. So if you get a calm night, I mean, it's a little bit intimidating walking into the Black Sea and knowing you're going to be swimming a little bit offshore, but you have some bright torches, and obviously make sure someone knows where you're going. I tend to also phone up Coast Guard, which they're always really grateful for. And I did say this last time. I said, is it wasting your time for me to phone you to say we're going for a night snorkel? He's like, no, we really appreciate it, because I guarantee we will get calls about it. And obviously, being on the lifeboat crew at Sheringham, it'd be quite embarrassing to get the boat called out for me if I'm out swimming there snorkeling.
Yeah, that'd be a good conversation afterwards, wouldn't it?
I'd be buying a few rounds in the pub, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just a good thing to do. When we've dived off the Coast Guard is always called to let them know how many divers are going in the water, how long we're expected to be there, and we call them when we're out.
Well, even in the daytime.
That's been Polly's always done that. If we're going with
a big group of us.
That's good.
So I think it's just it's good practice, isn't it?
Definitely. I started snorkeling with just a small orange buoy towing along. I mean, it's quite annoying when you're snorkeling, because it can get tangled up in your fins. But there's we get the odd jet ski go flying past. Generally, when you're snorkeling at really low water and you're snorkeling on the chalk reef, I'm often, unless I'm over the gullies, I'm often not in more than 2, maybe 3 meters of water anyway. So it's quite unlikely you're going to get any boats coming over the top of you. And you're bobbing up and down on the surface all the time anyway. But I thought I'd better start setting a good example and using a flotation buoy as well.
It takes one, though. I can think of river cleans that we've done, and we've got a great big marker there, and we still have boats come right near it, and I say, "Hello, we're under that." It's dodgy. Just be careful.
So have you done any diving off the Norfolk coast? Because obviously you dived in your sort of beginning of your career. Have you done?
Last dive I did was actually on the Rosalie, which was great. And I've recently, in the last couple of years, I've got a small, I mean, it's not a pony bottle. I used to think was like a tiny little thing like that, but it's a smaller bottle. I can't even remember how many liters it is, but I've got that and a rig. And I just recently picked up do you still call them BCDs? So I'm a bit out of touch. Picked up a secondhand BCD at Crystal Seas in Norwich. Those guys have been amazing. They're so good at get the tanks filled. That's so helpful. And so what I'm now doing is I'll snorkel along. So I was finding I'd see a lovely blue lobster sat in a hole, or I'd see something I wanted to film, and I'd snorkel down. And I'm not very good at holding my breath. I use a weight belt and snorkeling, but still, and you're kicking around to stay down there, and the camera's moving around. So now if I snorkel along and I see something down there, or I'm snorkeling along a chalk wall and I can see the holes the lobsters are going to be in, I'll just stick the mouthpiece in and just go down, and I can sit there for a couple of minutes and film, and I'll probably get a good 20-25 minutes out of this mini tank, which is brilliant, just on and off. And I'm never going deeper than, I'm definitely not going deeper than even 4 meters. So I don't need to sort of, as long as I make sure I, breathe out as I come up, standard diving practice. But and it's been fantastic. I can really get some nice steady footage. And the other thing is if you go in and the tide's running, I'm sure you've experienced this, you find something, you come back up for air, and unless you keep your eye on it, it's really hard to find what you were over again and get back to what you were over. So, the little air tank's been a real godsend.
Yeah, because it's so. I mean, the tide. People think the sea looks calm, but even when we were snorkeling, when you get out there, there is going to be, even if you're on slack, there's an element of drift. Yeah.
A little bit, and it's nice to use the tide and just sort of drift around. And I love even going in really shallow stuff, like even if it's 2 foot of water on a really sunny day, all the colors, and you can just lie there and just almost become part of it, and you're just sat there just watching all the real tiny stuff that you'd normally swim over. I just feel so at home down there. I love it.
No, I think even for people in the local area, it's just like a wonder that we've got on our coastline, and then it should be explored. And I know a lot of the time when even here when I'm looking out at the sea, it's very rare that you'll see the waves roll over and it looks like clear through the waves. It is always very sandy. But on those days you think, wow. It's just
it's gorgeous. It's just, there is a lot of sediment. I think people often think it means that the sea's actually polluted or dirty. It's just natural sediment, and it takes a few days for it to fully drop out. But absolutely love it, and it's a real sort of hidden wonder. But what's nice now is we're starting to see over the last couple of summers, every time I go out now, there's always, I'm not saying this has anything to do with me, but people are realizing now what's there. and there's a lot more people snorkeling in the water, and you'd be snorkeling along, and I can be a good sort of 100 meters offshore, around almost out to where the crab pots are, and suddenly I look up and there's someone out there, and you never used to see that. You'd be out there on your own, but now there's other people sort of bobbing around swimming as well, which is lovely.
Yeah. Well, when we did it, I had a float, but there were people out there with floats or no floats, and people with no wetsuits on. It was just and you think it's wow, they're really taking the opportunity.
Which is great.
So what's the most obviously there's crabs, there's lobsters, so what's kind of the most amazing thing that you've seen on our chalk reef?
The thing I love about it is it's almost like an African safari. You never know what you're going to find. Some days you might go out and just see the usual stuff, but other days you'll find there's a fair few eels out there now, which is lovely, like common eel, which I think they're on the endangered list still, which is pretty cool to see. Full grown eels. What I found, my memory's terrible. There was a scorpion fish, short spined scorpion fish. I think that was quite cool to sit and watch. Pipefish, the red mullet we saw last time we went night snorkeling was really cool. Not seen one of them off there before, certainly not during the daytime. Some nice jellyfish, lion's mane jellyfish and compass jellyfish. They're always lovely to swim with and film. And just some really lovely bright blue lobsters. I don't know if they could be classed as these sort of mythical 1 in 2 million cobalt lobsters, which I'm not entirely sure I agree with that number.
Someone else told us how rare they're meant to be, but we've seen like loads of them.
Well, when we went to the Farne Islands, they were just like everywhere. You're thinking these are rare. It's just like...
I don't know where the numbers come from, and I think some places maybe have darker lobsters and we just have a lot of the bluer lobsters, but generally lobsters are quite blue, aren't they? But some of them, they definitely do vary in blueness. A friend of mine, one of the fishermen recently, his wife sent me a picture of one that he caught, which was one half was literally blue right down the middle, and the other half was kind of an orangey color. So they had it's called bilateral asymmetrical colorization or something. I don't know, there's a proper term for it, but it's incredible. It was like a sort of a split personality. Very cool. And
it's amazing that that is a livelihood for our fishermen out on the North Norfolk coast as well.
Sadly there's very few of them around now, and I think things seem to be getting harder and harder. There's legislation, and they have MCA sort of paperwork and rules they have to follow, which is making things a lot harder for them. But I'm sure it's for their safety. But it's a tough job now. It's considering there used to be hundreds of fishing boats and fishermen from Sheringham and Cromer, years and years ago, and now we're probably down to, I know we've probably got 5 at Sheringham, and I don't even know if I think it's probably under 20 at Cromer. It's it really is a
But then again, it's down to them that the reef is being conserved the way it is because of their fishing methods, I guess.
I think so. I mean, there's quite a few of them now go further offshore, and there is the chalk reef was made the marine conservation zone a few years back now, and I think I've just heard they have introduced now some no fish areas, which they're sort of trying to see if it's going to make a difference to the animals on the reef. But I don't know, that's all getting a bit political. I'll try and stay out of that, commenting on all that.
I bet it does.
And the main thing is to enjoy it. So have you seen any changes from the time when you've been snorkeling all over the years that you've been in the area?
I mean, if you want to go back 30 odd years, I mean, when we used to have raw sewage being pumped straight out from basically from the sewage pipe that's now the snorkel trail, then definitely you used to get some pretty nasty stuff washed up on the shoreline. And now it's lovely and clean. I used to surf and bodyboard a lot of Sheringham, and if you got hit in the face by a wave and that went in your mouth and you swallowed it, you knew that night you'd be up with D&V, be pretty ill, and it was guaranteed every time. And it was just sense of dread. It's like, oh god, I'm going to be ill now tonight, because the water was so bad. It was just so full of horrible stuff. But now you haven't got that concern at all.
Mm. Yeah, I
which is
didn't
good.
realise
No, I
it
think that
had
was
been
that bad.
used
Yeah,
so recently, that pipe. It's just,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm 51. I've lived here all my life. I'm trying to think what age. I suppose we were probably 16, 17. So maybe, yeah, 35. Yeah, I don't know when the pipe was discontinued in use, but definitely when we were sort of 14,
Mm.
15, 17, there was still nasties in the water, and you would get ill if you got a mouthful of it if you swallowed it, and that's all it
Mm.
took. So, yeah, yeah. Thank God
Oh,
things have changed from then
Yeah.
since then.
thank goodness. Yes.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
God for Surfers Against Sewage, and all these guys that are doing all they can, the Marine Conservation Society, and
Yeah.
do can to keep the waters clean and
It
Yeah.
is
stuff.
actually, because otherwise, who would let lean on these people, these big companies to sort out their act and for the and make sure this sort of stuff don't happen.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
does take sort of people power, isn't it? It takes people
It
just to
does,
stand
yeah,
up.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So do you travel? Have you been around the world sort of snorkeling and doing diving, or is predominantly in North Norfolk your
A little bit. I've done some diving in Thailand. I was on the Barrier Reef. I had an amazing year. It was before, it must be 4 or 5 years ago now. So I had a friend of mine works for a company called SwimQuest, and they do sort of open water swimming holidays all over the world. And he messaged me and said, oh, no, I tell you what, the other one came first. So I got this job for Biosphere Exhibitions in Kenya to go and sort of document a wildlife trip out there in Kenya, in this amazing place called Enenkishu, which is in the sort of northern Masai Mara. So I booked the flights for that to go out there and film that, which is great. And then I got this call from Guy saying, "Do you fancy, or would you be able to come and film a liveaboard dive boat where we're going open water swimming in the Maldives?" I was like, "When is it?" And it was the week before the Kenya trip. I was like, right, okay, I'm going to need to change some flights around here and fly from the Maldives straight to Kenya. So I was on there, went on this thing. I was making the film for them for the open water swimming. I did a little bit of diving out there, some snorkeling while they were swimming around, and I was sort of filming them swimming to make this promotional film. And the guys on the boat were like, "You've got the coolest job ever. This week you're in Maldives, next week you're in Kenya." It's like, no, this is really not my everyday life. They seem to think that was, what happened all the time, but that was just a really incredible actually it's 3 weeks.
Today's episode is sponsored by Narked at 90, so let's find out a bit more about them. Narked at 90, their tagline has been beyond technical, which describes them pretty well. John Routley and Brent Hudson launched the company over 20 years ago. They are both technical divers who have logged thousands of mixed gas dives between them over a 30-year period. Using their engineering know-how and diving expertise, have developed bespoke, personal, commercial and military diving equipment and products of a universally recognised, unparalleled calibre.
Their ability to be adaptive and versatile with their developments led them to support the NHS during COVID. Using their superior knowledge of breathing and oxygen monitoring systems to help develop emergency ventilators. They also design and supply the sneaky stuff used by defence-based development groups throughout the Western world, although they can't tell us much about that. If you're thinking of moving across to tech diving or completely new to diving, Narked at 90 can advise and guide on the best equipment and setup for your personal or commercial requirements. Narked at 90 have unparalleled experience of shearwater dive computers and are the longest serving and sole and UK European service centre for those. They are happy to offer technical support, servicing, repairs and upgrades to all shearwater computers, past and present. Narked at 90 stock shearwater computers but are also stockists and technical support centre for many other manufacturers including Divesoft, JJCCR, Hollis, Revo and Kiss Rebreathers.
Based centrally in the UK, Narked at 90 also offer full rebreather head servicing for selected manufacturers.
Bespoke cable assemblies.
Advice on specific fitting requirements.
Suggestions and guidance for home builds.
Computer laser cutting and engraving.
Pressure testing to simulate 400 metre dives.
So, Narked at 90, a reputation built on supporting both manufacturers and divers worldwide.
Go to narkedat90.com and make sure you are following their social media to keep up to date with their latest news and offers.
Narked at 90, large enough to cope, small enough to care.
I don't dive as much as I'd like to. I don't have time really with the work. I'm just so busy pretty much most of the year with the filmmaking and the photography. But so yeah, I get my fix here when in the summertime when the water's calm enough.
Yeah.
But I'd love to dive more. I'd love to. I just need to win the lottery and not have to work.
Yeah. So with your work, so it's predominantly filmmaking, photography.
Yeah. So I started off doing wedding photography. Well, I worked in IT for years. Wasn't me at all. And got on this course in Norwich to do wedding and portrait photography. I thought that's an escape route. I'd always enjoyed photography. Did that for 16 years, and it was, you know, it was fun while it lasted, but extremely tiring, pressured. You know, you've got 150, 200 guests to try and photograph. If it's a rainy day, they're all packed in a bar, and the couple want these shots they've seen in magazines. So it's really, really stressful and hard work as well. You're sort of on the ball. I mean, obviously not hard work compared to someone that genuinely does hard physical work, but I'm only walking around with the camera. But it felt like the day after a wedding, I felt absolutely battered. I think because you're mentally on the ball for 12 hours plus. You're lugging all the gear around. I had 2 big DSLRs, multiple lenses in bags with me. You're sort of carrying stuff around. You're getting all the shots and stuff. And then the end of the day, you get back and you're like, "Wow, that was really hard work." So I weddings were great for a while, but then I decided, it was during lockdown actually. We were sat having a chat in the conservatory just here, having one of the after lunch drinks that we tend to do in lockdown because there's nothing else to do, just having a chat about things. And Leanne, my partner, said, "Why don't you just stop doing weddings?" Because they were stressing me out a little bit, and it was a risk. But you know, she said, "Well, you've got to take a risk, and it will make you concentrate on the other stuff, the commercial side of stuff and properties." So I did. I stopped taking wedding bookings, and by the time we got through all the lockdowns and I'd fulfilled the bookings I had, that was probably a couple of years ago now. I'm absolutely loving it. So my work now is commercial stuff. I do a lot of tourism filmmaking for Visit North Norfolk, other organisations, East Anglian Air Ambulance, RNLI. So lots of really cool, interesting stuff. Got a job tomorrow for a local public school which has got 23 brand new Steinway pianos being delivered. So I'm documenting them delivery. I don't know how much money's worth these things are going to be, but I'm a bit nervous. I'm going to put the drone up above them and get some shots as well. So I'll just have to make sure I fly very carefully. And then the day after, they're then going to play them all together at the same time.
Good grief. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I just say that to sort of demonstrate how varied what I do now is, and it's great. I really enjoy it. And it's a 90% video work now as well. It was photography for so long, and I just thought I'm never going to do video, but I actually really enjoy it. And do a lot of drone stuff as well now, which is great. So again, that's lovely with the chalk reef in the summer when you put the drone up and you can really see the outlines. And there was a couple of years back, I put the drone up and I could see the really clear outline of the SS Commodore wreck that's off Sheringham. And it's not like I discovered it, but it'd been uncovered by the sand for the first time in years and years. So I sort of filmed that, then got in the water and snorkeled around it and filmed it, and that got crazy coverage. That was on NBC in America for some bizarre reason.
Wow.
Some news anchor in New York. It's really crazy, but yeah, just great fun seeing what you can do.
And I think it shows it doesn't matter where you are in the world, what conditions. We're not blue water, tropical waters here, but you find the magic in it, don't you?
Yeah, you really do. And it gets to the point where you want to try and find something different. So I want to try and do. Have you seen the sort of the underwater ultraviolet filming? There's a guy down. I think he's down sort of Dorset way. I think he's done possibly some stuff in Studland Bay as well. But with the camera with UV lighting either side of it and seeing what fluoresces underwater, and it's really cool. Things look so different.
Are you talking about the black light? Is it black light what they call it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So it's like a UV light that you have, which is the same name for black light, and I think you have like a yellow filter over the lens, which then cuts out the purple or the bluish of the ultraviolet, and so all you see is the true fluorescing colors of the crabs or the fish, or whatever you're looking at. And I mean, it's even cool if you go for a walk on the beach. I've got a few LED ultraviolet torches. You get them on Amazon for like 15 quid or something. Go for a walk along the tide line on the beach with one of them, and you'll see the seaweeds all glow some crazy colours at night if you're walking along looking at them.
Really? Wow.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
I've not done that. I'll have to try that.
Rock pooling. If you go down to Runton or somewhere with rock pooling with a UV torch and look at the shrimps all glow a different colour. You've got crabs that've got different colours. I think periwinkles have a bright orange tip on the top of them, which really glows, and the seaweeds are all different colours. Yeah, it's great fun.
Yeah. See, this is amazing because it just shows you.
I didn't know.
You don't need to be like an avid scuba diver. You can just be a snorkeler or just a beachcomber and get all this enjoyment about our sea life. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the drone work, I mean, we've seen some of your footage, obviously on YouTube and on our local news, and it's just incredible.
Yeah.
It just brings the coastline alive.
It really has. I mean, the whole drones thing has just opened up a whole world. It's superb because you couldn't get those shots from a proper helicopter because you're not allowed to come below 500 feet unless you're 500 meters, no, 500 feet, unless you're coming into land. So you can't, there's shots you can get from a drone that you just couldn't get from anything else. Which is superb. I mean, that's why I'm now doing so much video, because when the first drones came out where you could actually see what was on the screen, you control it wasn't just a GoPro and you were just hoping you were getting something and getting it back and seeing what you got. So someone sort of put me on and said, there's this new drone out where you can see live what's happening on the camera. I was like, right, I'm getting me one of them. Did a load of photos, and then people started saying, can you do video as well? I thought, oh, go on then, I'll give it a go. And it's just one of those things that it's the same basic principles: exposure, aperture, ISO, white balance, but you've now got frame rates. You would have sound if a drone recorded sound, but it would just sound like a swarm of hornets. So you put your own sounds on, put some ambient sounds, some music to create the mood. You've got different sort of shots, pans, tilts, sweeping orbits.
Do you think they'll bring it out with sound? Because I'm wondering whether with AI, they're now done it with the Beatles, haven't they? And the Beatles have got a song out. I forget what it's called now. And it's all come about because of John Lennon recorded in the late 70s some demos on a tape. And it's only become about now where we've got AI technology that's been able to split the sound of his voice and the sound of some of the instruments, and it's all on tape, and they've now managed to withdraw his voice from the tape. They can now put that with Paul, George as well, all singing.
That's really interesting. Yeah, if they could filter out the sound of the propellers, and the little motors, that would be incredible, wouldn't it?
It would, because you think most of these drones now, I can't fly a drone on if it weren't for the fact that DJI virtually fly their own. You can send it up a loft and get some great, awesome.
Yeah. They're brilliant. That'd be amazing if you could actually, because I just end up I've got a whole sort of library of sounds, some stuff I've recorded myself, other stuff you can get from sound libraries. But if you're doing a drone, if you ever see any drone shots and you're hearing natural sounds, they weren't on there because the drones don't have a microphone. So it's all added on. It's the same if you see a wildlife program and there's a drone flying over and all the animals are running. They're not running because they want to run. They're running because they're running from the bloody drone.
Oh, last night. So just we better explain. So last night, it was Planet 3, David Attenborough's Planet 3, and there's a drone footage going through this. I presume it was drone footage. It's quite high, but going through this African sort of mountain area and in the desert, and you could hear all these sounds. And what it was camels. These, I suppose, the Bedouin guys, and they had herd, and they're on camels, and the sound coming through because it was all echoing around the mountains. It was awesome, and the video work, it was just amazing.
Oh, they're incredible, this series, aren't they? They really are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good because it inspires other people to give it a go, doesn't it? And that's the way that you're kind of entering the natural world, I guess, and finding out a bit more and learning a bit more.
And it's great. And the way I see it as well is the more people that have appreciation or even understand what's in there, the less likely are they to just chuck the rubbish on the beach, or walk along, and they might be inspired to go along the shoreline and take a bag and pick up some of the plastic and some of the junk that's on the beach, which is great. I think that can help preserve the environment like that can only be a good thing.
Is that something that you've seen get worse over the years? Rubbish on the beach?
No, I find it quite annoying. This is really bad. I love going along the tide line after a good storm and finding all the stuff. And I'll take the bag and I'll pick up all the plastic and the bottles and the rubbish. But also you can find some quite cool stuff. I've got some, in fact, I can grab it if you like. I've got a jar full of bits of amber I found on the coastline here, which is just treasure. But I love walking on the coastline and seeing what's there. And if I time it wrong and the guys have been along and done a beach clean, there's nothing to pick up. There's nothing to look at. And it's really annoying. And I shouldn't be grateful for that. I should be grateful for that because there's no rubbish.
But some beaches seem to gather more stuff than others. We've always found lots of stuff on Walberswick.
Yeah.
But you go to Southwold, hardly anything.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yes.
What we're complaining about. But actually, it's interesting what you find.
Yeah, it's currents, I think, as well. You get just between Sheringham and Weybourne, you've got there's a really shallow sort of a bay, but near sort of Spalla Gap and the Old High, it's almost, when it's not a bay, but it's about as close to a bay as we'll get around here. And the currents, I think there's something going on there where stuff does get washed up there. I think there are some sort of, the tides do sort of conflate somehow, if that's even the right term.
Yeah.
So you do get certain bits where there will be a lot of interesting bits and bobs washed up to see, whereas bits that are more exposed, it just gets carried on to those areas until it finds somewhere that's stopped them. Yeah, there are definitely better areas.
So what's the one photo you've seen that you wish you would have taken?
Oh, I'll tell you one. Do you know Dan Abbott? Have you ever spoken to Dan Abbott? If you haven't,
Dan Abbott, yes.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good guy. He came down and snorkeled on the reef with me a couple of years ago. He'd seen some stuff, and he's since gone off, and he has been capturing some insane stuff this year in Pembrokeshire, hasn't he? The whales with the dolphins riding their wake is just like, wow, Dan, I'm in awe of that stuff.
Yeah, but I think all this exposure of people like yourself and Dan and lots of other people on social media, it just kind of makes you think, whoa, there's this wild world out there, and you just want to go and explore it.
Yeah, so I was really pleased. I got some shots that there's a bottlenose dolphin off Runton earlier this year. Managed to get them on the drone, which was awesome. And then someone did actually say to me a similar question: what would be your dream shot from the drone? And I thought, well, you know what? We've got this huge, and I'm not wishing any harm on the seals at all, but we've got this huge seal colony at Blakeney, and all it would take is one pod of orca to discover this amazing food source there. And that would be my dream shot. Would be, the Falkland Islands, where that was an Attenborough one, where the orcas beach themselves and grab these seals and sort of wriggle back in the sea. If I got that off Blakeney Point, I'd die a happy man.
Yes, yeah, well, yeah, and we know, obviously seeing the seals out there, it's just hundreds and hundreds.
I don't want the seals to get eaten, but to see an orca taking a seal off here would be incredible. But anything like that, I mean, I'm really hoping to get basking shark to film some basking sharks sometime soon, because they migrate up and down the coast here, and it's just a case of timing, or the bird watchers will quite often see the fins going past, so it's a case of getting the word, and I'll get out.
Well, they come along our coast, do they?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
No. Wow.
Yeah, they come past. I think they migrate past here, and this time of year at the moment, I think. Hang on, there was one only a few days ago. It was a not side strand, and it was heading east, I believe. So I think they're coming down from Scotland. They're coming down and around the coast at this time of year, and then springtime, I think they head back up that way. This will be a breeding ground or something.
Yeah, because the season in Scotland kind of finishes September time, because I know we looked maybe going, but it would be too late.
Yeah.
So, I guess they kind of come down either side of the country.
Come down here and probably head down to Cornwall, and you get some friend of mine actually was in snorkeling, and I can't remember what the bay was, but he was snorkeling. Suddenly, this just beast came out of the water, and it, you know, he was then next to 2 or 3 huge basking sharks just snorkeling off the beach.
Wow.
And that would be incredible.
Yeah, and it's just amazing. And then you see like the blue sharks down in Cornwall, basking sharks. It's just we have such a diverse range of wildlife around our UK waters.
There is incredible. I mean, this has been one of my dreams. If I ever get the time or get the sponsorship to produce it, and I have approached a couple of TV companies, but they said it's a bit too niche, but it would be to do a snorkeling tour of the British Isles. No one else is allowed to nick this, all right? This is my idea. Snorkeling tour of the British Isles, and actually make a documentary of all the different. I've got a whole list. You've got, you know, you need permission for it, but you've got the seahorses in Studland Bay, like you say, that you've got the blue sharks off Cornwall or Pembrokeshire, Lundy Island. I mean, there's, you know, all around that. You've got the Blasket Islands off
It's
the West Coast
amazing,
Island.
don't you think that? You know, we had Ross Kemp. He brought his program out, didn't he? You know, Wreck Hunters and that, and how popular that's been. You know, you think Jack Cousteau and other divers have done other programs. They've been popular. And you can think of some YouTubers who are really popular for doing river, you know, going in the rivers and finding sunglasses and iPhones and things like that. And they've got like 13 million followers and that. You think, so why would it be wrong, or why do they think that nobody would want to watch the wildlife of stuff around our isles? I don't get it. And
especially stuff that's accessible to anyone, like anyone.
Yeah.
The idea is it would be anyone can put on a mask and snorkel and go out and see these things.
Do you think it's lack of understanding on their part?
I don't know what it is, really. I don't know what it is, but I'd love to, you know, reach a point where I could self-fund something like this, or, you know, have a camper van and just do, you know, a series going around meeting some of the local snorkels at each of the areas, talking about the area and the natural history, and then going down and filming it. And I think personally I'd be fascinated with it, but, you know, that's I don't think it's as niche as people think it would be, because it is accessible to anyone snorkeling, really, isn't it? You know, if you can, you don't even have to swim. You could wear a blooming float, and just, as long as you can put your face in the water and breathe through a pipe.
That is it. And, you know, I know that there's a safety aspect. You know, you've got to check the tides, the weather, and you know, people need to know you're out there, but it is very accessible. You know, you obviously don't go jumping in like raging seas or anything, but but
the sea is also dangerous, and we wouldn't be safe without our good friends of the RNLI, which I believe you are a member of, the Sheringham Sheringham RNLI and a Shantyman.
I am indeed, yeah. Anything to do with the sea, and I'll get involved. Yeah.
So how long have you been part of the RNLI?
it'll be 24 years next year. I've been on the crew.
A long time.
Wow.
It's whizzed by, though. It doesn't feel like 24 years.
Yeah. So is it quite an exciting area to be in as a lifeboat man up in Sheringham?
It's a good thing. It's a very, very quiet area. We don't get a huge amount of call outs a year. I was last week before last, I was down at Poole on a navigation and radar course. And the first night we sat around the table, and the guys saying, right, how many shouts have you had? And there was people from Harwich there, like 50 something, and someone from Plymouth, I think he said 216, and there was like 6. I was like, oh, I don't even want to say how many we've had, but we're a quiet station, but that's a good thing, because it means people aren't getting in trouble, and people aren't, people are being careful. We've also got, there's a lot of factors. The station used to be a lot busier because there used to be a lot more fishermen. There was an awful lot more fishing boats went off. The engines weren't as reliable. Didn't have all the navigation and radar gear. Not that a lot of the fishing boats now need radar. They know where they're going. But if the fog comes in, you can find your way back with radar. But things, mechanics, electronics, awareness. We've got the lifeguards now on two of the beaches at Sheringham. and all along the coast, RNLI lifeguards. So they will probably get a lot of stuff that we may have gone to, like the smaller stuff, inflatables and stuff and things like that. So there's a lot of factors involved. If the fishermen have to call out an RNLI lifeboat now, they tend to get an MCA inspection, which will put them off calling us. They might call their mates or something like that. But yeah, there's a lot of factors. So yeah, but we're there. We still train every Sunday morning and quite a few Wednesday evenings. We've got our friends and flank stations to the east and west at Wells and Cromer, so we sometimes we'll do joint exercises with them. So it's a real good community to be part of, and yeah, it's you learn an awful lot. Like we don't have to come into being a lifeboat crew knowing anything about the sea. The RNLI's got this incredible training facility and pool. Huge training, you know, the programs you can go through. You can go from there nothing about the sea to being a blooming coxswain of an all-weather lifeboat in a matter of years. You know, they will teach you everything. So yeah, it's an incredible organisation.
Well, as a diver and you know, someone who likes getting out on the water on a kayak or paddleboard, you know, we want to say thank you for your service and your colleagues and everything that you do, you know, because it's good to know that you guys are there, that if needed, we just call 999 and ask for your help. So, yeah.
We're always on the page of Saturday. It went off just before we have a 6 o'clock test every Monday. And, this new pager is really blooming loud, and it went off and really made me jump just before we came online.
No way.
Well, it's a good thing to hear that, you know, the call outs are not as frequent, because there are lots more paddle boarders out there, kayakers, because it has got much more popular than it was probably pre-COVID times. Yeah,
there's an awful lot of people on the water, and I mean, the Saving Lives at Sea program has done a huge amount, I think, for sort of public and the good work the RNLI does all around the UK. So yeah, but there's a lot of people using the water. We've got all the sailors at Blakeney as well. Generally, they're quite safe there in the Blakeney pit. But yeah, we've pulled a few divers in. It's usually we had a few sort of potential bent divers, but the ones we used to get most of were bad air, where I think they just put the inflow too close to the blooming exhaust of the generator, which is a schoolboy error. Yeah. But, being a diver, it kind of helps to know, like, if we do need to get someone in, I know sort of where the various clips and bits are to get them off, and we always send away the dive computer and all the kit with them, and generally their buddy as well will go, because if one of them's got a problem, the chances are the other one will have something. So yeah, it's quite interesting, but yeah, we're always there.
Yeah, no, that's good. No, you're a proper man of the water. By it, on it, under it. So have you got any sort of projects coming up in the future that you can tell us about to do with the water?
Water-based or anything? No, I mean, summer is my busiest time. So winter, things definitely quieten down. So I've got quite a lot of stuff I shot this year. Like, I did shoot a lot of stuff underwater in the days when we did have clear enough stuff that I haven't even had a chance to edit yet. So that'll be a nice little project for the winter. I'll pull all that footage together and edit it into a short film again. Winter's always, I always take a walk out to Blakeney Point, usually sort of from mid-December onwards until sort of end of January is brilliant. The seal pupping's going on, and it's just an incredible walk out there from Clyde Beach. So, and just desolate. You can quite often not see another person there, which is, and you've got all that time.
It's awesome up there, isn't it?
I love it. We stayed out at the watch house earlier this year, which is the sort of halfway house, the old Coast Guard.
Yeah.
A cottage, Blakeney Point. That was incredible. I mean, there's no.
Is that blue building?
No, that's the old lifeboat station. That's actually, I say on the end of Blakeney Point. It's not really. It used to be on the end of Blakeney Point, but because the spit keeps moving over, it's now well inland. But no, if you were to walk along the beach, you can see it pretty much from anywhere on the coast. It's this little cottage just sort of stood in the middle of nowhere, and it was the Coast Guard cottages. It was. I've read the plaque enough times, but it was made. I think it was to do with during the war to look out for the baddies coming ashore here.
Okay.
but possibly even earlier than that. I think it probably was earlier because there's a wreck. There's the Hjordis wreck, which is just off the end of the point. You've got that wreck isolated danger marker, and that is quite an interesting story. That the Hjordis ran aground on a real stormy night. I know January or December, must have been around 100 years ago, and the captain tried to get everyone off. And I think they pretty much all drowned apart from 2 guys. And one of them ran up the beach in this storm, freezing wet and cold, and hammering on the door of the Coast Guard cottages. They let him in, got him dry, and went along the beach. And by the time they got there, the tide had gone out and the boat was high and dry on the sand. So all they needed to do was just sit on the boat and wait for the tide to come out. Yeah, it's a terrible story. But so, yeah, but there's some great history around that whole area of the coast there.
Yeah, really that's all full of coal, isn't it? Is it
coal?
The one that's full of coal?
They all are. I mean, the Vera and the Rosalie were all SS steamship, so they were all coal powered, which is another great thing. I'm giving away all my secrets here. After a good storm, we'll go and walk along the coastline. You can pick up all that coal, and it burns really well on the fire in the wood burner. Free fuel.
No, it's pretty unique. The North Norfolk coast. It is just. I mean, we've had some amazing trips out to Blakeney Point kayaking, haven't we? And we are the only people there, and it's just like, most of the time, and it's just amazing.
I'd love to sort of stay out in there. They've got those huts out there, and they I think are sort of passed down through family. You're not allowed to sell them; you can only give them to, pass them through your generations and your family. But to stay out on Blakeney Point would be, well, that's what the watch house is, I suppose. You're virtually on Blakeney Point. It's a magical place. It really is.
It's certainly a wild place.
Cool. I'd love to snorkel with the. I mean, you can snorkel with the seals off Lundy, can't you?
I did try. I did snorkel off with the seals at Blakeney, and
did you?
Probably about 3 years ago. But they don't come anywhere near, not like the farms, and they kind of keep probably about 3 meters away.
Yeah, we got some footage. When we were in the kayaks, we put like the GoPro underwater, but they're not like inquisitive, like nibbling your GoPro or your fins like Lundy or even the Farne Islands. It's
strange, isn't it? I wonder why that is. If why they're more wary of people there than they would be for the exact same species up the coast. But
I've just always.
Do you think that's what it is? I mean, they get seal boats out every day of the year down at Blakeney Point, but they still seem a bit nervous. And if you I know they did have a problem a few years ago that people on kayaks and possibly stand-up paddleboards were going in too close to the seals, and because they're not used to, they see the seal boats every day and they just see these heads popping over the top. But when there's someone actually stood up, they were freaking out and sending all the seals were just going away. And then the poor old seal guys were coming out and not having any seals to show their customers because they'd all been scared off, so I think they had to have words.
Well, we saw a lot of jet skis last year, and that wasn't very
jet skis at all. Mad.
That was we're pretty shocking. That was, but
not good. They're noisy, fast, and they're just the boy racers of the sea, aren't they? But I'd love to have them, but they look great fun. But they're a pain in the arse.
There's a place for them, but not there.
Yeah,
and it's over there.
Exactly.
A long way away.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, the main thing is, we protect what we've got and look after it and tell people about it and how amazing it is. And you're doing an amazing job of that, and seeing some of the footage that you put on YouTube and on social media is just incredible.
Yeah.
So,
trying to find new things to do. I don't like to keep doing the same thing every year. So if you've got any ideas for a different way of approaching it, or a different way you could do it, I'm up for trying to sort of think of something, rather than just doing the same thing year in, year out. Or even, this is what's nice sometimes with photography, you go out with the lens you would never usually use. So going and doing landscapes, go out with a 300mm massive zoom lens and do landscapes with that, and you get some really cool different stuff, and it's almost like a fresh look at things. So it's trying to think, do I just go in the macro camera? Should I go in, it's trying to find ways of looking at what you see regularly in a different way.
Yeah, I think it's I think time release is good. I think that can be quite fun, and I think especially if it's a camera, if you can find a spot where you can then see how the seasons change a particular spot. And I thought about doing that with the drone. Is marking a place that you can send it up. So the view, because you got winter, autumn, summer, and spring, and all that.
Yeah.
And when you think about how light changes and the colours and what have you, and especially like now where a lot of places are flooded and things, surprising how different landscapes all change, don't they? You know, how different places look. So I thought about doing that and just doing it on one particular point. And different times of the day as well. You get different light as well, don't you?
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, it'd be nice if they made a drone battery that lasted 12 hours and you could just leave it up there for the whole day and get a time lapse.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do.
Yeah, you need some
But
sky
yeah,
hooks.
I think after a storm is always good as well. I think
Yeah.
if you can capture a storm or go out straight after a storm, I think that's quite good as well.
Were you talking about the drone or in
Either,
water?
yeah. Really, because you know you see all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
We've
it's
not
good.
had a lot.
Sorry.
I was going to say, we've not had in the way of good northerly sort of storms over this way for a while. I mean, there's been fairly decent swell with the was it the easterly we had last week? And then but we haven't had a proper good northerly blow up for a while, which is when you get everything gets pushed up the shore. And I love just looking at it's not even, you pick up the rubbish, but there's interesting sea life. There's some enormous. I've got a huge lobster claw I found on the shoreline. Shall I grab you some bits and just show you now?
Yeah.
Mike.
We'll need to explain for our listener what we're looking at as well.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they'll be thinking, sounds great, but what is it?
So Chris has just gone into his living room to look out some bits and pieces.
I was waiting for the cat to make an appearance.
I can't find my lobster claw. I don't know where it's gone. But I've got some bits of amber that I found along the coastline.
Now, I quickly went on your website today and saw you've got a video of how to make it shiny and clear, and I was just blown away by that. It's just so I will put a link to that.
So that's about the size of a couple of inches, like a pebble.
What can I put next to it for reference? There's my
size of a golf ball.
Yeah, it is about. I mean, it's a good chunk. That's actually my other half found this one.
Wow,
that's amazing.
Thankfully, she's left it at mine. But I've got a whole jar of other. Hang on, see if I can show it. If I bring this camera down a bit.
Yeah.
So a whole jar of bits of found. Yeah, and when you actually find them, I've polished most of them up because I kind of like the look of them polished. But I've actually got one that I've left as found in the sort of the raw, in the rough.
Yeah.
Focus. Yeah. So they kind of don't look as you'd expect, and people quite often just walk straight past them thinking it's a piece of rubbish or a chunk of plastic. But no.
So amber is valuable, isn't it? We see it in jewelry shops.
I mean, it's not like a super precious. I don't know how much this little jar would be worth, but it means more to me than the money would do. Yeah, I don't think it's massively valuable at the moment. And that's the annoying thing is I did this whole video about how to clear amber and make the milky stuff go clear, and then quite a few people have pointed out that the milky stuff actually is of higher value than the clear stuff. So I've been devaluing.
Well, like you say, it's like we've just had like the storms on the south, and I was surprised that the beach here at Patefield hadn't really changed an awful lot considering the swell and the rough sea that we had. But on the south coast, I guess it's a lot worse than we'd see right up here.
Yeah, I'd love to go down there and sort of been there at the right time to film some of those storms, because they're just incredible. Some of those, I love the power of a big wave. Just gives you so much energy, I think, doesn't it? As long as you can watch it from a safe point.
And I think it makes you appreciate the sea and just the power that it has, and it's ever changing. That's I think that's it. I just think I feel quite claustrophobic if I go somewhere too long where I can't see the sea. Just know what you mean. Definitely know what you mean. If
we go on a holiday, we won't go anywhere that isn't on the coast. You know, everywhere. Just the sillies are
It seems
fantastic.
strange. It is weird. I feel exactly the same. I couldn't live particularly much further inland. You know, I'm 15 minutes from being to the coast. Gemma's even closer, and so are you. And I just couldn't be any more further inland. It would seem really weird.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. It's just how it is.
Yeah, and it feels, you know, like seeing the sea every day is just like a must. It's just like it just does something to you, and if it's getting on the beach is
you need to clear your head. Just to walk along. I mean, the walk at Sheringham, I've done it thousands of times, but from the boating lake up along the cliffs, over Skelding Hill, back down to the Old High, and then back along the beach, I'd just walk that loop every day and still be happy. I think it's just such a stunning view along the coastline around to Blakeney Point. You've got the in the summer, you've got the sea pink or the thrift on the cliffs. It's just really lovely, and sunsets, the sunrises, the beach combing, and it's like you say, it's ever changing, and it's just an interesting environment.
And I think it shows, you know, we're a scuba diving podcast, but we talk to not just divers like yourself. We talk to people that are just so connected to the water, that environment. They love it and they're passionate about it, and you know, that really comes out from your conversation. So it just shows, even if you're not a diver, you can get something from that watery world, and it is just incredible.
It'll be a thalassophile.
Yes. So with all of our guests, we always have like set questions that we ask them. So if you could take 3 people snorkeling, they don't have, you know, even if they don't swim, but just take them and view that underwater world, who would you select and take?
Goodness, you can't just drop that on me.
It gets more.
We've got more. About. Oh my Lord, 3 people. Oh geez. I don't know. I mean, it'd be easy just to pick your heroes like Jacques Cousteau and David Attenborough, and I don't know, but people that would, I guess it would be maybe people that appreciate it. I don't know. That's a really hard question. I'll come back to you in a couple of weeks on that one.
Right? Well, you've listed some that are usual people that we hear: David Attenborough, Jacques Cousteau.
But then would it really impress them? They've seen the world in everything it can offer. So I'd probably want to take someone that would would be super impressed. Actually, I'll tell you who I'd take would probably be my little nephew Leo, who's he's got cerebral palsy, and to be able to take him snorkeling and see it would be incredible. That'd
blow him away.
Someone that wouldn't normally see it and get a chance to see it and appreciate it, that would be my choice. Actually, not the guys that have seen it all already, because they'd just be like, But
this is why, going back to your earlier point about, you said about production company thought, anything in the sea is too niche. But this is why it is a good idea, isn't it? Because to give people who never see the sea, people who never get a chance to go to the coast and go for a paddle, if it weren't for programs that are done around our coastline, how would they ever get to see and know what's out there? And and it's a medium of getting people to see what's out there. And I think it's a shame that they have that view, really, because I think a lot of people would take benefit from that. But then I guess that's why we got YouTube, I suppose.
Yeah, what's the BBC motto? Inform, educate, and entertain. It is taking people out, and that's why all of these Blue Planet and all of the other stuff is such an incredible success. Apart from being amazing camera work, it's taking people places we'll probably never get a chance to go or to see. So but the beauty of the snorkeling is accessible to people, and we're not going to Australia.
Talking about that. On that last episode of Black Planet 3, they were filming the flying fish, and the camera work on that, those fish, when they're out of water, the clarity and they were so in focus, amazing. And the fish were flying, and the camera work was spot on. Some of the best I think I've ever seen to capture those fish flying and stay in focus while it's moving along. It's just like, wow, that, you know, that shot was just awesome.
Well, it's like being there, isn't it? And that's what you want to feel.
And my TV is like 15 years old, and I was thinking, that looks awesome on my old TV. What must that be like on something modern? I think,
oh, there's the
awesome.
cat.
You know. So another question we've got for you: what gets you out of your comfort zone? What's going to be the thing that you think, oh, hold on?
In the way of, I suppose, a lot of the time I'm quite enjoy my own company. I quite enjoy, obviously, like spending time with Leanne as well. But I don't like crowds. I don't like big numbers of people. I haven't been to London in years and years. It just doesn't. Best thing about London is getting home again. Is the train back.
Sorry for any of you Londoners out there listening.
Yeah, sorry, not necessarily London. Any big city. It just doesn't do my thing, and so. Yeah, that would be getting me out of my comfort zone, forcing me into a big, like I've done a few Glastonburys over the years, but that was a long time ago. I think somewhere like Glastonbury now, while it's a great experience and incredible music, the crowds would just do my head in. So that would probably be most out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, no, that, and I'm sure that'll make sense to many of us. It's when you're used to your own space, and like we have space and skies in Norfolk and Suffolk, it is just you just want to get back there. It's just yeah, absolutely. And then our final question: if you could have a billboard that you could broadcast to the whole world, so you could put a statement on it, a video, an image, what would you put on your billboard and why?
Oh man.
What a great question for a photographer.
It's a really good question.
Image, video.
Oh, what would you put? I don't know. I mean, how do you answer this without sounding really glib or patronizing? Or I don't know. God, it's a really difficult one, isn't it? How would you try and put a message out of?
How about a picture of your cat?
You see a cat over your shoulder. It's very chilled out and relaxed now.
That's not the same one. That's a different cat. What would you put on a billboard? What would you put on a billboard? Probably some cheesy inspirational message. I really don't know.
Doesn't have to be.
Love the ocean, because the ocean will love you back. There.
Excellent.
That's a good one.
You're happy now?
Yeah. Anything to do with the sea, that's good. You're a man of the water. No, that's really, really good. So it's good to hit you on the hoof with some questions.
Interesting.
So if people want to find out more about you or look at your work, where are they best to head over to?
Probably, so my website is christaylorphoto.co.uk, and then my YouTube channel, I think you just put Chris Taylor Photo into it and you'll find, or even snorkeling at Sheringham or Norfolk Chalk Reef, and you'll find the sort of the underwater stuff of the reef and the various other bits and bobs that I tend to film. But it's all good fun. Just working on a shantyman. We had a big Sheringham shantyman gig last night on Cromer Pier, which we made a few sort of films for, and we had a nice introduction from Stephen Fry, which was lovely. So just
nice one.
Working on that, so I'll post that up. So again, all the songs of the sea, I love the history, and I'm now reading some of the Hornblower books, and it's just anything to do with the sea. It just gets in your head, doesn't it? And it does. Even the historical stuff, I love it.
Yeah, and I think there'll be a lot of people listening to this. If the sea is in your heart, it's in your heart, and you just can't escape it. And anything to do with like that watery world, is of interest. So, and hopefully we'll convert some of the people in these big cities, listening to this. It's and we'll get we'll get some more people visiting like the coastline, and in particular, the chalk reef as well. So what's kind of the window? It's just the summer months when people can...
definitely summer months, or maybe very early autumn, depending on what the weather's doing. But I've got one of my videos on YouTube is snorkeling tips for the North Norfolk chalk reef. So that's got information about when to go, where to go. I mean, some of it's really basic. Your listeners as experienced divers will probably find it really condescending, but some of it's. But there's some stuff about the local area as well, and tidal conditions, and just when to go in.
Yeah.
But if people want to drop me a line, I'm more than happy to, engage in any of that stuff. Or I try and post on Instagram when I can, and sometimes on Facebook if I can be bothered.
No, well, I think that's good. And I think there's a YouTube video out that you've done about, what equipment you need to go snorkeling. And, it's just simple stuff like that is really helpful for anybody that, maybe holidaying up in the North Norfolk
and don't
area.
know the area and what to do and what to take.
Yeah.
And we're lucky. It's a pretty safe coastline. We don't have any nasty sort of rip currents generally. It's we've got the flood and the ebb tide, but they don't move at ridiculous speeds unless you're in a full spring tide. But even then, it's not that bad. It's nothing's going to take you out to sea. It might take you along the coast east to west, but nothing's going to drag you out to sea. So we're nice safe coastline. When it's suitable for snorkeling, you wouldn't go in snorkeling when it's rough and the waves are crashing, because the visibility is like trying to snorkel in gravy. You just wouldn't. So
So it's just keep an eye on the weather in those summer months and calm days, and get out there. And we feel really lucky we've managed to do it once now.
It has to be done.
And it's definitely, and without hearing about your promotion of it and all the amazing things that you can see underwater, we'd have never ever have known about it. So that just shows keep doing what you're doing, and it's just get that message out there about this amazing underwater world we have.
Excellent. I mean, I'm just sharing what I'm passionate about. There's no political motive behind any of what I do. I love to go down there and see it, and I love making films, and I love to be able to create stuff as much as anything for me to look back on. But if other people can see it and enjoy it and learn from it and gain something from it, then what's to lose?
Exactly. And that's why we were there in the summer, because of you. So
Awesome.
So thanks for sharing that.
It's been really great talking to you, Chris, and hopefully we'll get some people over to your website and looking at your YouTube videos as well to see what amazing life we have up in North Norfolk.
Excellent. Thank you.
And hopefully you'll have a calm winter on the RNLI boat, and everybody will stay safe.
Let's hope so.
Great.
It's great. Lovely chatting to you guys.
It's been
very
great
much
to catch up with you, and thank you for your time this evening, Chris.
Great stuff. All right.
Take
care. Happy diving.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, well, we want to say thanks to Chris for coming on, and don't forget to, if anything particularly you liked about what we talked about, there's more to be found on his website, which is Chris Taylor Photography. So look him up, or just Google Chris Taylor in Sheringham, and all that will come up. And there's a lot to be found off our coastline, which is really cool.
But it shows the passion he has for the underwater world and the coastline.
Isn't it weird though how we all have this kind of a attraction to the water, and maybe it's because we aren't we like 80% water,
something like that, but there are people out there probably that have no interest in the sea and I think they hate the sea. But I think we're all quite like-minded, and I get completely what Chris means. Can't be away from the coastline for too long, and every time you drive back home it feels like you're going home.
It is a bit odd. It's a little bit to one of these life's mysteries, why you do feel that draw, that pull.
I'd say get the same being in the mountains. Like when I've been skiing, that kind of fills your heart like with wow.
I like seeing the mountains and I like being there, but no, I prefer being with the coast, definitely.
Sea is a heart, but you get the same. I think being in the hills and the mountains, it's the open space.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
And I think it's really fascinating, you know, hearing him talking about how he got into photography and diving and things like that. I thought that, you know, that was really good. And long time being in the RNLI, that's long service, that.
Yeah, real commitment. And obviously it all goes, he's through and through a real seaman, isn't he?
Yeah, and we should give thanks, because I think that's important, because, you know, with the RNLI, they do that voluntary.
Yeah, and it's all
I think
charity driven as
usually
well.
it's just like the engineer that gets paid, and maybe somebody
Mm.
in management might get paid to who manages it and what have you. I might be wrong, but for the majority of the people involved, they just give up their good time.
Well, we have two very good friends, don't we? Sam and Ben.
Absolutely,
from the
yeah.
Ilfracombe.
Prime
RNLI.
examples, you
Yeah.
know, of guys who, all weathers, when that alarm goes, they drop everything and put their life on the line to go and save other people. And,
Yeah. And it isn't just
thanks to that.
You know, they volunteer their time, but it becomes part of their life, and it
Has to.
It's family as well, isn't it? And
it's not a job, is it? It's not a job.
No, and it's
Way
their
of life.
commitment to the coastal.
And it's not for everybody.
No.
Yeah, to be fair.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, that was really amazing, and it's lovely to talk to somebody local for a change from our area and the coastline that we know quite well.
Yeah, nice to see the cat make an appearance as well.
Yeah, we like a bit of four-legged wildlife.
Bit of wildlife.
Yes, and even having some amber on the show as well. So for our listeners, obviously, you may see us on video a bit later, but yeah, he had some amber, which is like a pine resin that obviously is fossilized and over time, and we find a lot on our beaches around here.
Yeah, we do, certainly do. And always, you know, our beaches are always open and available for beach cleans and things like that.
Yes, look after your beaches.
I think that's kind of it, really, with in regards to that. I think we ought to say thank you very much for him. Oh, a little shout out there to Dan Abbott. Abbott, we spoke to
probably when we were in double figure episodes.
Dived Up Publications, is that right?
No,
am I thinking of someone else?
Yes, I think so.
But we'll
put in the show notes.
Shout out there to Dived Up Publications, who was talking.
Yes, Dan Abbott's episode. We spoke to him. That was probably maybe towards the end of lockdown.
Dan, if you're listening, need to make contact, and we'll get you back on. We'll
see what you're up to.
Episode with you in 2024.
Yes, but just going back through our previous episodes, I'll put some links below, but we've spoken to a lot of people that are real ambassadors for our UK coastline. So like JD Scuba, one of them, even some of our Irish guests as well. And even like Underwater Ross up in Scotland.
Ross, Ross McLaren. Kat, who told us about diving off our coast as well.
Yes, absolutely. And we've spoken to some amazing people that
Rob Spray, another one who told us about the North Norfolk coast.
So there's people say the UK has an amazing diverse marine life and coastline, and there's so much to be explored. We need to look out for basking sharks now.
Look out for those scallops as well. They always make an appearance.
Yes. We like to mention the scallops in every episode.
Just get them in, you know. For our avid listener.
Top fan, yes. Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, so as always, before we get more letters of complaints about mentioning scallops, we should say and give thanks to our great friends at Narc 90, who, as you know, sponsor these podcasts and helps make it all possible. So thanks to them. If you are in the tech diving, or you're thinking about buying a rebreather, or you're thinking about buying a shearwater computer, you just started out diving and you're thinking you're buying your first dive computer, have a look at narc.90, make contact with us, and we'll even give you a voucher. How about that?
Yes, yeah. So, and they've got an amazing team with a wealth of knowledge. So even if you're a bit confused, give them a ring, drop them an email, and you'll definitely get a lot of good advice and help.
Hey, don't take our word for it. Give them a call, go to the website and have a chat with them. And then, hey, let us know. Let us know.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. That's yeah. So I think that's another great episode, and we've enjoyed chatting to Chris Taylor. And we'll keep in touch and follow his progress, and look forward to the next snorkeling season on the North Norfolk coast.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait to get the young scuba honey on the case for doing that, because I think she'll enjoy that.
Yeah, well, we could snorkel it on a low tide and even dive it on a high tide. So either or, really.
Actually, I was hearing him talking about doing a night snorkel. And I wonder what we could do is that you could go kayaking on a Wednesday, so you get to do the kayak at Cromer.
Yeah, and then go up the coast,
and then whip up the coast as it's getting dark to then do the snorkel.
Yeah, and you can even like take a paddleboard out, so you've got like a place to pop up with.
Yeah, we'll just put a float. Take the float.
Yeah, we've got floats.
Put a torch in the float, so it illuminates that, or some glow sticks.
Yeah,
and then off you go.
Yeah, the main thing is safety. Somebody knows you're out there.
Let the Coast Guard know.
Yeah, which is all great advice, and you don't want the RNLI boat rocking up saying, "What are you doing?"
No, absolutely, yeah.
No, but there's good safety advice from Chris as well. And if you've got any questions for Chris, you can contact him directly on his website or drop us a line, and we'll pass over your details.
Yeah, and don't forget to pass on to your dive buddy who we are, that we've got this podcast and we talk to all these people. Let them know, and don't forget to leave us a 5-star review, because it helps helps other people get found.
Yes, and we're officially listed and downloaded in 140 countries around the world. So drop us a line, because wherever you are around the world, we'd love to know where you listen to us and how your diving is, or why you listen to us, and we'll keep adding those countries to the list.
Yeah.
Or if you think you're in one of the most remote countries you don't think is listened, we're downloaded, then let us know, and we'll
absolutely. We want to know, definitely.
Yeah, because Antarctica was one that came up the other day, wasn't it, when we were interviewing Hayley?
Yes. Yeah. She's put Antarctica on the map for us.
She's downloaded us while she's been out on a vessel.
Yeah, that's good news. Right, that's it for now. We will speak to you on the next one, and thanks for listening, thanks for downloading, but for right now, this was
the Big Scuba Podcast.
See you soon. Now that does wrap up today's episode of the Big Scuba Podcast, but if you want to hear more from the podcast, make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button, depending on what platform you are listening on. That way you will never miss an episode from us. But if you are listening on Apple Podcasts and did enjoy what you heard today, we would really appreciate it if you head to the show page to leave a 5-star rating and review. It really does help us. If you do, please take a screenshot of that review and send it to us on Instagram, and we'll give you a shout out to say a big thank you. If you have any questions for us or anything that has been mentioned in today's episode, be sure to reach out to us on any of our social media platforms or send us an email. The links are in the show notes. We will get back to you no matter what. If you have made it to this point in the episode, we both want to say a big thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.